Welcome back to the channel. This will be video 2. First video we did the carb rebuild on it. Second video we just got it back to the place, picked it up from Nick's shop. So we've got 48 Dodge. We're going to do a full air ride suspension on it. It is a 6-volt car still, but the way the previous owner did it, he had an alternator and ran the batteries in series. So it's got a partial 12 volt, partial 6 volt, depending on where it's pulling from. So right now what we're going to do is take the plasma cutter, cut the springs, see how low she'll lay without doing any serious chopping. Then we can start to plan out how high the notch is going to be and how we're going to attack the front. If we're going to do a step arm or if I can just pocket it. There's a little bit of a spring pocket in the front, so we'll be able to tuck the bag in there. We are going to go with a Slam Specialties SS6 in the front. In the back we'll probably go with a generic 2600. And then we're going to run an 8-valve system, dual compressor, 5-gallon tank. Keep it simple, keep it old school. Let's get chopping. We're going to take a couple measurements so we know where we started. Front is at 26.5.
The back is at 22.25.
So now we know how far. Let's get chopping. We cut the leaf springs on the back just so we could tip the axle up and see where we needed to be. Still got tons of room up in the wheel well. Measuring from the bottom of the frame to bottom of the tire, we got to go up another 3 inches it's bottoming out right now on the center section to the floor. So we'll end up cutting the floor out. The pinion is really tipped down almost on a 60-degree angle. It's pretty steep. So we'll have to tip that up. And I'm going to shift the wheel back probably 2 inches to get it centered in the wheel well better. Looks like maybe we'll do a 2-inch C-notch in the back of this. So the most cutting we'll end up doing is going to be, very minimal into the trunk of this trunk floor. And then the drive shaft tunnel is going to be pretty high through this, but the back seat is really big. We knew we were going to cut into that. We always end up doing that. So, but where the gas tank is looks good. Wheel wells, tons of room in these wheel wells. And that's a pretty small notch to put in to get this car to lay. It's going to be on the frame at the back. The front, there's a cross member, and the oil pan is really low on this car. So the cross member and the oil pan are about the same height. So I'll make it lay out, and then if I have to add stops in it, I will. Because if there's a motor swap in the future, then I've already done all the hard work. The back we got to get 3, the front we got to get 4. The front's completely hitting the chassis on the spring pocket, so maybe a step arm. The front spindles on these are weird. The shock goes from the front spindle to the upper A-arm, so we'll be changing that. We'll do the standard lower control arm to frame for the shock. But we got to figure out how much we need to cut. It's not crazy. We'll probably start stripping out the interior and cut the sheet metal out of the floor. Probably do the back first. And then I can think a little bit longer on what I want to do in the front. Meow. We stripped out all the suspension. Found out where we need to cut the floor. So I've already marked it out across here, and then I'm going to cut across the top edge. So we're also going to cut out the spare tire rack as well. There's going to be no room for that. The bottom of that is already pretty rusted out, so we're going to cut that out too. Probably make a flat base or maybe hide some of the air ride in that hole, but we'll wait and see till we get to that point. So let's get cutting out this floor. with this rear end, it's got to move back 2 inches, as we talked about. I think I'm going to unbolt it off of the U-bolts. We're going to put new U-bolts on anyway. Bring it up, tack it to the frame where I want it, and tack it so the pinion is correct, and then I can start working on the tunnel. That way I know the drive shaft's going to clear everything. I have a feeling it's going to probably start just behind the front seat, and then it'll probably be another 6 inches up higher from where it currently is, but we'll bend all new sheet metal for that, tie it back in, and then we'll figure out where we're going to put the bags and everything. I think on this one we're going to do bags on top of the axle. We have a lot of room to do that. So this axle is tapered, so I'll make up some mounts on the computer, cut them out on the plasma, and get into that. So I think right now I'll get some jack stands under this side. I've got one under that side, and we'll cut this. I'll have to drop it down so I can get the tire off of it. Drop it down, tip it, and cut the floor out for the pinion next.